When you really get involved in taking human life, your psyche also is suffering some consequences. In my 25 years in the SEALs, as I moved up, a lot of the issues that were of great concern had to do with the psychological after effects. The idea of being in direct combat is a thrilling experience, and so I'd have to admit to having been very excited about it. The difference is when you really get involved in taking human life in a very direct and dramatic fashion, your psyche also is suffering some consequences, which often leads to what we now know as post-traumatic stress disorder. The word SEAL, it should be synonymous with trauma. We go looking for trauma and we create trauma. And of course, trauma is created against us too, and also our families suffer because of that. So I think that part of SEAL operations really was not emphasized in terms of training. We got very well trained to do the military side, but there wasn't any training at all in that era about the psychological effects of taking human lives in that particular way. And that led to my actually ultimately wanting to write a book, which had to do with specifically how to work your way through trauma. I focused on the three legs of a stool we all stand on. And this idea goes all the way back to the ancient Greeks. The idea that we have mind, body, and spirit support structures in our lives. And if you're trying to stand on a stool with three legs, and all three legs aren't supportive, you're not balanced. Often trauma will destroy or weaken all three of those legs. There's been a recent study that said 80% of all human beings will have at least one major trauma, maybe more in their lives. And then 20% of us are going to have some form of post-traumatic stress disorder symptoms out of that. So it's a universal issue. It's not just affecting SEALs. Well, first off, I think the first thing, particularly for combat veterans, is get over the feeling that it's shameful to go get help. And you can get it from friends, family, you can get it from professional services. Well, we have national standards that people should know about for PTSD, having to do with sleeplessness, having to do with nightmares, having to do with overreaction to simple events, having to do with aggressive behaviors which are out of context for the situation the person finds themselves in, having to do with addictions. But in my time in the Navy, heavy drinking was pretty much the drug of choice for us, and a lot of that was trying to mute the symptoms. It's important to also realize that there are tools in each of the areas of mind, body, and spirit, but you have to go looking not just for physical help, you got to go looking for a purpose in life that gives life meaning again. If you're sitting there in the fog of trauma, don't just sit there. Pick a direction and go in one way or the other. And if you're walking in the wrong way, you can turn around and walk back. But if you just sit there, you're going to starve, essentially. So I just like to encourage people. Winston Churchill had a great saying. He says, if you're going through hell, keep going. And that's exactly what I think is most important.